Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode, obviously not just because it's another interview, but I actually have two guests with me. And I believe in the over 300 episodes that I've done, I think I've only interviewed two people at the same time, I think 3 other times. So this is a rare occurrence. So I have with me today, Carmen Reed-Gilkison. And what Carmen does, she's a certified coach and business strategist, and her business partner, Deirdre Harter, is also a business strategist, but has a CPA background. And together, almost like Voltron, if any of my 80s kids out there, they joined forces to have a super business that helps 40-plus-year-old women really increase their strategy and growth in sales and business. And so even if you're not a woman that's listening to this, and I know I have a very diverse listening base, you're going to be able to take something away from today's episode. So absolutely hang in there. So with that being said, Carmen and Deirdre, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to be here. And we love the superhero reference because when you join forces, you kind of do create a super business. And that's what we've done. And we're excited to share about it today.
Yeah. And I can relate to that. You know, my wife and I, we own multiple businesses together, and we play off of our strengths. And I know as we dive into today's episode, obviously, Deirdre and Carmen, you guys can share, you know, where the strengths, where the weaknesses are, and how things work so well together. So let's just dive right in. Deirdre, I want to start with you. Obviously, you both are business strategists, but you have that CPA background. So just take us through the journey. You know, again, you do multiple things, but how did you both, and you specifically, come to this, I would say, middle point in your career to dive into something with Carmen, and, you know, what led you on the path of everything that you guys are doing now?
Sure. So I started off in public accounting a couple decades ago. I was one of those people who worked my way through college. So I was taking night classes, weekend classes while I was working. And I went from government accounting into public accounting because, you know, I had the original dream of going with, you know, the big 5 or big 4, however many there were at the time. And so I started on that path only to realize that I wasn't getting any kind of priorities in my life besides work. You know, I couldn't have a family, couldn't have downtime, couldn't take care of myself. I was just working all the time. So I switched over to smaller firms, and I really loved that because I got a lot more client interaction and I got a lot more experience. I was able to move into the small business space and really work one-on-one with small business owners, and I really loved it. Over time, though, it became, you know, it was a grind, you know, every tax season. And about 14 years ago, my husband had a medical condition to where he was off work for 3 months. And even though I had a really good profession, the salary just wasn't enough to cover everything without his help. And that's when I created a side hustle because I had to do something. I'm like, well, you know, I can't just not do anything. So I started selling in e-commerce because that was something I could fit in nights, weekends, early morning, whenever. And really loved that and determined that I had entrepreneurial DNA inside of me. And so I really wanted to just do my own thing. I built that business up to where I could leave accounting, and I started coaching people in that space once they found out I had this CPA background and knew all about inventory and finances. And so that's where I got started coaching. And from that point, I was running both companies until I met Carmen. And I had come to a point right before I met Carmen where we call it the midlife point, where I really wanted to make a bigger impact. Like I was already had everything I wanted. I was doing what I wanted to do, but there just was still something missing and it just wasn't quite enough. And when I met Carmen at a virtual summit, it was like divine intervention. We clicked, we had the same goals, we were at the same place, and we came up with this idea of Encore Empire.
Awesome. Now, Carmen, same question. So let's look at the other side of the railroad tracks where you were coming into Deirdre's life. So what does that journey for you look like in your professional career that led you to that virtual event where you guys met and now we're doing something together?
Sure. So I had a high power corporate career where I led a team of in a proposal department, winning contracts in the 9 figures. So 20 plus years of sales and marketing in corporate. And, I could check all the boxes. My life was great. Home, white picket fence, husband, blah, blah, blah. But one morning, like it was that midlife awakening point. It's like, is this all there is? I've achieved all this stuff. I've checked all the boxes and somehow this isn't doing it for me anymore. I wanted to be able to make an impact and do something that actually lit me up. I was frankly burnt out from doing what I was doing. So I started realizing that, okay, I'm 50 years old. If I go get another job, it's going to be the same thing, different place. Plus, as an older woman into the marketplace back then, will I get hired as easily? I had all these things. So I'm like, I need to create my own security. I want my own business. I want to do what I want to do. So my whole journey, it was a very long journey, but basically I started helping local brick and mortar business owners learn how to do social media marketing. Okay. And I could help them. I could teach them how to do that. But what I ran into time and time again was the mindset issue. It was an overwhelming idea for them to grasp social media marketing and all that meant. And remember, this was like 7 or 8 years ago. So Amazon was just taking things over. They were stressed out anyway. It was a little bit of a different time period. But what I realized was, even though I could give them the ABCs of how to do something, I didn't know how to shift that mindset. So that led me into becoming a certified coach through International Coaching Federation. And I understood the process of that. So then it was like that. So it's like, I wanted to empower people, especially midlife women, to be able to take what their passion was and run with it. Met Deirdre, we got together, we realized we had the same passion. We both really wanted to empower women because, so much time is spent doing stuff for everybody else. It's time now to take it and run for yourself, but people don't know how. Like when I was in corporate, I didn't know how to take my corporate skills and turn those into a business. It was very many years of going down a winding path, falling off a couple cliffs, blah, 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 So being able to bring our experience together and shorten that time frame for people and warn them about the pitfalls and help them through it is really what we've done and through Encore Empire, and it is awesome.
Would you say, in your both of your honest opinions, is the greater percentage of working professionals dissatisfied or satisfied with what they're doing?
I would say dissatisfied. It's hard to do anything for multiple decades, to do the same thing over and over. And another part of it is that, in the beginning, you have all these promises of grandeur and you can climb the ladder, but what happens when you get to the top, or what happens when you hit the glass ceiling where you can't go any further? So then there's no more challenge left. There's nothing to work toward. And I think that's where the burnout starts.
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah, I'd say the same thing. And, climbing the corporate ladder, getting into middle management, running a team, middle management, all that means is you're doing the grunt work for the people above that don't want to do it. You're just helping implement their rules. And so it becomes, you're really stuck in the middle. It's not fun. Sure, you can gain and do all kinds of things, but there is that limit. And when you're able to turn what you want to do into your own business, you realize there are no rules. You get to create the rules. You get to create what it is. And that truly is the case. So anyone who is curious about it, I assume your listeners already are in the entrepreneurial journey, but it's so very true. And we just really like to bring that message out and shout it from the rooftops.
So Deirdre, specifically for you, how important has it been for you to have that CPA background in what you and Carmen are doing? So when you're helping these, midlife women that are looking to increase sales and business strategy and all that growth. How has your accounting background helped influence and impact them in a positive way that's helped them become more cash flow positive, where, you know, we all know in the entrepreneur game, things are set up differently. You know, you don't get your own pay stub, you're paying yourself, and there's different things that you have to look out for. So how much has that benefited you and also your clients?
I think that's one of the things that sets our program apart. There's a whole lot of business coaches out there, but that is one piece that's hard to find. It's hard to find someone who's got the background and the certification. And it helps a lot because I learned over the years how to take, instead of speaking accountant, like most accountants do, I'm able to speak in normal plain English that people understand. And really knowing your numbers is an absolute key to the success of your business. If you don't understand, you know, where you're at financially and what that, you know, everyone's looking at their financial statements once a year, maybe when they get ready to take it to their accountant to file taxes. And some maybe are looking at it more often, but they don't really know what they're looking at. And they're looking at historical data. And there is some value in it, but you really need real-time data. You need to, because you have to pivot and make fast decisions about where you're going. So it really, that's for me, the starting place of strategy when it comes to sales and marketing and what programs you're offering, because a lot of times we paint ourselves into a corner building something and putting a program out there or a service only to find we can't grow, we can't scale because of the way we built it in the beginning, because we didn't understand what should the pricing be. So I think that just aside from, you know, helping set up bookkeeping and things like that, the real value is in understanding return on investment and building in the financial forecasting into the sales and marketing strategy.
Love that. And, you know, Carmen, what I'm curious to hear from you is, you know, you led, you know, large teams and you handle transactions into the 9 figures, which a lot of people can't even conceptually wrap their minds around that kind of money. But at the same time, you also became a certified coach. So how would you say the combination of those two, you know, being in high-powered corporate America, managing teams, dealing with high volume of income, but also lumping into that the knowledge that you learned in being a certified coach, how has that helped you impact people on the outside of your corporate career in what you're doing with coaching now?
Yeah, I actually was very skeptical about the whole coaching thing because everywhere I looked when I came online, everyone was like, I'm a coach, you can be a coach. You know, there's things you can be a coach for $50, you can be a coach. So I thought this is hokey, but I looked into it. And when I found out that there was a governing body, the International Coaching Federation, I went with a high ticket program because I find value in that. I want to learn. And it was one of the best things I did because it actually taught me the power of questions, of asking questions, of getting into what the blocks are that we have in our minds, because really we are limitless beings. We can do whatever we want, except our minds stop us. And so our clients, we've had people just almost in tears saying, thank you so much. You helped me. And we didn't even talk about business. So mindset is such a big piece of it. And so when we pair the mindset issue, the coaching, the understanding how to create that transformation and shift the mindsets with Deirdre's considerable CPA and business knowledge background, it just creates something that really you don't find out there very often. And it does nothing but bring us great joy to be able to help bring these people through these blocks and understand these things. I mean, we have one person, one of our clients she's e-commerce, and she didn't know this really important piece of the tax situation for her company. And Deirdre is able to work through that with her, you know, and she's just like, I can't believe I didn't know that. It's just bringing these things, and everyone has their gift. So it doesn't matter what your background is. It's your take on it and what you're bringing to it that other people don't understand. But really, it's when Deirdre and I joined forces, I'm sure you can relate to this too, with you and your wife having several businesses together. And you said you you build on each other's strengths, and we do the same thing. So it creates something that's greater than the two of us. In fact, we consider it three entities. It's me, Deirdre, and the business is a third entity, and so it's very powerful. And we love the collaboration. It does help not only build off each other's strengths, but spark more, ideas, excitement, plans, whatever. It's just kind of, it takes on a life of its own. So it's been just a really great experience.
So piggybacking off of what you said, and I would like to hear both of your answers to this. So Carmen, first, just since you just finished talking about this, what was your own biggest personal block that you had to work through that you can relate to with the clients that you work with?
That I don't have enough business knowledge to be a business strategy coach. So coming out of corporate, I have all kinds of business knowledge to a degree, right? Because if you look at the whole pie, whatever your role is in corporate, it's a piece of that pie. It's not the whole pie. And so what really got me in my mindset was, well, I'm going to go help people with their business, but I only know a piece of the pie. But it helps to be paired up with Deirdre. I can say that because she can come in where I can't, but I know more than I do. And I think everyone knows more than they do. So for anyone, I would say, whatever your mindset block is, it's just a belief. Like, you're believing it and you're creating a story around it. So stop believing it.
Limiting thoughts create limiting beliefs, which create a limiting life. So it's just restructuring that. So Deirdre, what about you? What do you think your biggest block was that you were able to kind of work through that now is helping you assist other people?
So I think the biggest thing was, part of it was, can I really be a coach outside of my area of expertise, in finance? And just like Carmen, I didn't know what I knew, that I knew a lot more. When I really started looking at it, I had been helping business owners. So I had helped them create business models. We had done marketing plans. So there was a lot more than I thought. I just thought of myself as a tax preparer and, consultant, but there was so much more there that I could bring about and help other people fashion all parts of their business. And then the other mindset was that I was limited because it was just me. And I think all the solopreneurs start out thinking that way. And you don't have to have a partner. It absolutely has been a game changer having Carmen as my partner. But as a solopreneur, you have to think of yourself as the CEO of your company. And when you understand what that role means, that yes, you're in charge and responsible for everything, but you don't have to do it alone. You can get the help that you need, and it's just a matter of learning how. And that's where we come in. We know how, and so that's what we help. And we also provide that collaborative coaching piece that people are missing. And I think that's probably one of the things that our clients love the most, is they said, I didn't feel like I'm alone anymore. Like, you're always in your own head about, should I do this? And is this the right thing to do? And you can have masterminds and, colleagues, but when you have a business partner working side by side with you, the dynamic is amazing. And that's what our program provides. We are the silent business partners for the solopreneur, so that they now have an executive team that can help them plan and execute their strategies.
I love that. And the other thing that's really interesting is that there's this midlife reworking, so to speak, for a lot of people out there. And there's a lot of people that are pivoting, and there's a greater percentage of people that feel after they spend X a number of years in a career or a profession or working for someone, it's too little too late. And reinvention can happen at any age, at any time. And I always stress to people that a lot can change in 12 months. A lot can change in 6 months. So what's your message, to both of you, to that individual that's listening to this, that, whether they're male or female, they're at that mid-age, midlife time period of their business journey, and they're dissatisfied. They have some sort of drive or entrepreneurial DNA inside of them, but they're just afraid to take that step because, again, when you get comfortable working for someone else where you're clocking in and clocking out and you have that guaranteed, bi-weekly deposit, or bi-monthly deposit into your account, you take comfort in that. Entrepreneurship, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a game. And, I like playing games. I always liked video games. So it's like getting that high score, and you're always looking to learn new things and tricks and tips to better the game that you're playing. So what's your advice to those people that are listening to this that fit into that dissatisfied, but skeptical and scared category?
Yeah, I resonate with that so much. But what I would say is, the next 12 months, the next 5 years, the next 12 years is going to go by no matter what you do. So where do you want to be in 12 months? Where do you want to be in 2 years? And here's the other thing. You don't have to burn it all down to build something new. We both recommend, and we both started out as side hustlers. And because we are able to then feel a little bit of security, and then you get to do all that. Because what you said is 100% true, Scott, that it is a game. You have to learn the game. The other thing that I'll say is, I can't stress enough that getting the right guidance early on is going to completely shorten your margin of error, because you can learn it and you can do it. And it might take you 5 years, it might take you 10 years, and you can reach whatever success you want. But if you can shorten that and understand things and learn from others beforehand, then you don't worry about it. But I didn't want to sit on the sidelines in my rocking chair at 80 and look back and go, I never did that. And I really wanted to. I mean, to me, the things that you say that you reference that can be thought of as security can also be thought of as handcuffs, because you actually don't have any control over that. We've seen it time and time again. And I wanted to have control when I hit 50 and realized maybe I would have to go get another job if I wanted to do something different or start something of my own. It was kind of a no-brainer. I don't want to go be at the mercy of someone else again. Not that anywhere that I've been has been bad, but I want it to be on my terms. And that's the power of it.
Yeah. And, I have a saying that I love to talk about. It's called creating your own economy. We have been, it's been drilled into us that the security is the job. And it's actually reverse security, because you don't have any control over it whatsoever. And I remember I originally wanted to be a fashion designer when I was, coming out of high school. My parents talked me out of it. They said, that's not secure. You need to go get a secure job, like be a lawyer or an accountant. So I chose accounting. And yes, I was always able to get a job, but it didn't fulfill my life. And it didn't even fulfill the financial part, because I wanted more than what I was able to attain, because somebody else was always telling me where, what was my limit, and I hit the limit and I couldn't go anywhere. So in your own business, whether you want the freedom to do what you want to do and just to live your life, your life doesn't have to be all about working, and it can work with your life. Your business can work with your life, and you can set it up any way that you want to. And you don't get to do that in a job. And unless you fire yourself, you're not going to lose your business. You can lose your job. And we've all seen that now over the last 18 months, how insecure it really is. Even the good jobs, the secure jobs, really weren't secure like we thought, because that business can close. So I think that one of the other parts of what we like to talk about and we stress is that experience elevates everything. And your experience doesn't have to be from your job. It can be, but it's all parts of your life. I mean, after you've lived on this earth for several decades, you've amassed quite a bit of experience and knowledge. And almost everything can be monetized. And that's the beauty of it. So whatever it is that you have the experience, and you don't have to be a degreed expert in something. If you know more than somebody else, then to them, you're an expert. And if you understand that and see yourself that way, and that's the story that you run with every day, and you're going to become more of an expert as you go day by day by day. So you're always going to be ahead of everyone else that you're helping.
Yeah. No one's chapter 2 looks like someone else's chapter 7. Everyone's journey looks different. And I'm also a big believer that, the teacher's always the student. And, the three of us are prime examples of that. It's why we joined the group coaching program that we did, because we wanted to learn new things for our business. And in regards to creating your own economy, which is something that Nancy and I also believe in, we also believe in creating our own environment. And we all know what's happened with the environment around all of us over the last 18 months. It's pretty toxic and negative. And that's why, we don't watch the news at all. And, we kind of limit our time on social media. And, Nancy and I have become very protective of whose content we actually look at now. And, unfortunately, we've had to, either hide or remove certain connections on social media of people that we know that don't agree with the environment and life that we're looking to create. So, people can choose to feel they want. But again, you have to create this bubble for yourself where you're blocking out any negativity, anything that's going to impact you in a negative way that's going to bring you down. So I also wanted to talk about Encore Empire, which is the business that the two of you have together. So for the audience that is not familiar with what the both of you do as far as the sales, business strategy, and growth, tell us a little bit about Encore Empire and what really makes it different from other programs that are out there today.
Sure. So we focus on the foundational business strategy, and the reason we do this is because when you start out in the online space, we help online entrepreneurs, right? So this was a typical thing for almost everyone that we work with. It was typical for me. I started looking for the programs and the courses to take. So, one was how to build a program, how to do copywriting, how to do sales. And then you try to tape together a business with all these things that none of them really speak to each other because it's someone else's strategy behind them. It's not yours. So we help our clients build their strategy. We start with the values. So we start inside out approach. We like to say we want the values to align because we don't want someone to build something that ends up being a job that they hate. So values and then validation. We get our clients earning money ASAP to validate the fact that what they want to do is something viable. And then we work one-on-one with our clients, and we always will, because we are that silent business partner that Deirdre talked about, and we work in collaboration. So they can get a hold of us anytime. We meet with them, weekly or every other week, depending on the program they're in. And we are literally looking at their work, giving feedback. They reiterate, we give them feedback. So it's a growth process that we don't see anyone else doing. And that's what we love about our program. And that's what our clients love about our program.
And along with that one-on-one guidance and collaboration, we have a learning platform to where it's teaching all the basics of running a business, from everything from the back end to the finances to, the sales and marketing and social media. So we put in there the evergreen strategies, not the flavor of the month marketing, not, what's going to be, here this month and gone next month. So we're teaching those foundational basics, because you can go out and there's a million other people talking about, what's the latest, thing to do on Instagram, and what's the latest thing to do on Pinterest. So we're really focused on more of building the structure around all those other tactics, and building on the assets they already have. That's where I think people miss it, especially those who've been in business for a little while and they're just not, typically it shows up in the sales, right? And in cash flow. That's what they don't know. They have a problem until there's not enough money. And then they're like, uh-oh, something's not working here because I don't have enough money, or I don't have the kind of money I thought I would. So we really look at, what is the underlying problem? And it could be anything from the sales process is not right, the marketing's not dialed in, or it just could be inefficiencies in the systems, or it could be a bandwidth issue. Maybe they're just stretched too thin and there's too much for them to do. So we really are able to diagnose what is the problem, and let's fix that. And then let's optimize and maximize what you've already built. Because like Carmen said, we don't believe in burning it all down and starting all over again. You have to, use all those courses, all that knowledge and everything you've gained up to this point, and let's just make it better and make it work.
It's just like building a home. You have to build the foundation of it first. And a lot of people have some of the basic foundations. The windows might not be installed. The door may not be on the hinges yet. The roof may not be built, but that's when you make that investment in yourself in programs like the one that you guys have to help finish building that dream home that you've always been wanting to build. Now, as we get towards the end of the episode, how can people find out more about the two of you individually, but also about Encore Empire to learn a little bit more?
Yeah, the best way is just to go to our website. It's encoreempire.com, all one word.com. And that leads you to our programs, leads you to our Facebook group, it leads you to About Us. So you can find all it out in one fell swoop.
Awesome. Pretty easy. And all that information will be in the show notes for the individuals that listen to this. And I highly, highly suggest you checking out everything that Carmen and Deirdre are doing. So final question to the both of you before we sign off. What does success truly mean to you?
To me, it means getting rid of limitations. It's limitless. So it's always changing. That's the other thing. You know, don't pin yourself into a corner about something that you think it has to be. Be open to what you don't even realize it could be.
Yeah. And for me, success is being able to get up every day and be so excited about what's going to happen that day. And even though you may not know what's going to happen, but just to be able to enjoy every part of your life and not have to compartmentalize anymore, to where it's all in flow. Your business, your family, your friends, your time you spend with yourself, and being able to put priorities in the right order and not be limited by all these constraints that you have when you're trying to meet somebody else's schedule and meet their goals.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. It's just being happy and doing what you love. And it was, I was driving our son home from school the other day. And as we were pulling up to the house, he goes, "Dad," he goes, "how are you so happy all the time?" And I said, "But it's a choice." I said, you know, people can choose to be upset. People can choose to be unhappy. People can choose to be sad. And I choose to be happy. And he goes, "Well, you know, what about when, you know, Gigi passed away? My grandmother passed away in October of last year." And I said, "Well, but," I'm like, "there's going to be moments where you're going to feel sadness." I said, "That's normal whenever you lose someone. But generally speaking," I said, "you can be happy all the time, but you want to feel all those emotions. But, you know, just remember," and I told him, I said, "always choose happiness, because when you choose happiness, it leads to so many other great things." So I just wanted to thank the both of you for coming on here today. I know it's sometimes difficult for people to be interviewed at the same time, but I feel this was just so fluid and flawless. I just first wanted to thank you both for being here today and sharing your love, your gifts, your energy, and all the knowledge that you did today. So thank you again for being here. And I'm so excited for people to hear this episode.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Scott. We really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So again, everything about Deirdre and Carmen and Encore Empire will be in the show notes. So please do check it out. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.